This is a video on how to knit a diaper cover using the Just Start Knitting Diaper Cover pattern by Connie Mitchell. You can find the pattern on Ravelry.com. This pattern is set up and designed so that you do not need to make a gauge swatch. There is no adjusting. Pick the perfect yarn, pick the needles you want, and just start knitting. I have found ways to knit a diaper cover until it is a width and length that you want. Yes, check out my diaper cover. Again, the pattern is on Ravelry.com called Just Start Knitting Diaper Cover. You will need yarn of your choice, a small ball of yarn made from that yarn, of course, stitch markers, a tape measure, and 2 sets of circular needles in the same size. The diaper cover is started by using Judy's Magic Cast-On. Hold your needles in this manner. Slip the yarn over and between the 2 needles. Of course, pull a long tail. Holding the tail on top and the working yarn on bottom, wrap the yarn around each needle, alternating needles as such. Top on the bottom, bottom on the top, top on the bottom, bottom on the top. Continue to cast on until you feel like you have about 2.5 inches worth of stitches. Be sure to have an even number of stitches. Using the Magic Cast-On is how we can make this diaper cover completely seamless. Once you think you got 2.5 inches worth of stitches, you're going to take them and gently spread them out with not a lot of distance between them, but just spread them a little bit. Then you're going to get your tape measure and you're going to measure across the needles like so. And you're going to just do it so that you have 2.5 inches worth of length from the front to the back. At this point, you're ready to start knitting. So you're going to turn your needles over and you're going to grab that yarn for the front of the diaper and you're going to pick up the corresponding end of that needle and start knitting across those. The first stitch is kind of loose and wiggly, but you just go ahead and knit it. You can pull your tail a little and tighten it, then knit the second one, tug a little bit more. But once you get past the first couple, then you can pull your bottom needles out and just let them rest. Then you just knit across the front stitches. At this point, you're done knitting the front stitches. You can pull that needle through, see how it looks. Now you're going to work with the back needles. So you're going to flip your work over, use the back needles, but you'll see that the front needles are hanging there holding the front stitches. Now we're ready to stitch using the back needles and the extra ball of yarn. So you're going to pick up the corresponding needle for the back stitches. You're going to knit in the back of the first row of stitches and you're just going to knit across those stitches on the back needles. The whole time you're knitting across the back, keep in mind your front stitches are just being held like a stitch holder on your front needles. This is what it's going to look like. So now you're going to continue on the back needles. So you're going to flip your work around. But first you got to put a marker to mark that cast on row. Now you're ready to work on the back, and you're only going to work the back stitches. So you're going to flip it around and you're going to start knitting flat back and forth on these stitches. So in this row you're going to purl, and then the next row you of course knit following the pattern. The pattern calls for the first 2 stitches to be knit, the rest of the stitches to the last 2 to be purled, and then we're going to turn it around and start back the other direction. So now you've reached the end of the row. Turn your work around, and then you're going to follow the pattern and knit 2 across the back stitches again. Then knit front and back in every stitch to the last 2 stitches. So this is the first couple of rows of the pattern, or how it starts. Now you can follow the pattern and just keep doing what it instructs you to do for the back of the diaper cover. Once you've followed the instructions and completed the back, you can let the stitches on the back just hang off the needles. Do remember to put those stitch markers in. I forgot on this video, but you put a stitch marker in so you always remember to knit those last 2. Add a large pom-pom to the back and you have a bunny diaper cover. This pattern will work with any weight of yarn. You can use worsted weight, or you can get some baby weight, or sport weight as they call it. Or, as you can see, I used the chunky in the video. You can use any weight of yarn. As long as when you cast on, you do your magic cast on, when you measure, as long as you have 2.5 inches, this pattern is designed so that it will work out. As long as you start with that 2.5 inches of cast on, no matter what weight. Of course, with the lighter weight, you'll have more cast on stitches. With the chunky, I had a lot less cast on stitches, but no matter what weight, it will work. I've used it for many diaper covers and many different weights of yarns, and it does work out every time, as long as you start with the 2.5 inches.